and leaders, United Nations diplomats, ambassadors, and other dignitaries, distinguished guests, and delegates. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the President of the Republic of Kenya, His 45th Lions United Nations Day. Mr. President, at the onset, I wish to appreciate the role the Lions Club plays in moments of challenges, especially during the height of COVID-19. Although we are not yet out of the woods, your 48,000 clubs across the globe and more than 1.4 million volunteers made great impact to humanity as lockdowns and clouds of uncertainty rocked the world. You saved many lives. This global kindness towards humanity is bold and it matters. Mr. President, we meet here today under the theme Hunger, Nutrition and Wellness. When the globe, Africa, the Horn of Africa, and Kenya in particular are reeling in the negative effects of climate change has negative ramifications on Kenya, Africa, and the globe. While Africa contributes less than 3% to climate change-related pollution, it is severely impacted. Current and recent extreme weather and climatic conditions, including heat waves, wildfires, floods, hurricanes, and several missed rain seasons, have been experienced across the globe, with vulnerable countries suffering more. We are in a crisis. No doubt, the world is bleeding from the impacts of climate change. Kenya is bleeding from the impact of climate change. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to demonstrate the impact of climate change, Kenya has consecutively missed 5 rain seasons. We are deep into the longest drought in 4 decades. As a result, more than 5 million, while livelihoods worth $1.5 million have been lost in the last 1 year. Wildlife, one of our leading foreign exchange earners, has also not been spared. The drought is threatening to drive the world's heritage, the wildlife, to oblivion. Between November 2022 and January 2023, we have lost 1,108 wild animals in drought, key among them 262 elephants. Over $3 million in 3 months for water and feeds to sustain the wildlife population alone. We hope to receive rains to reverse the dire situation during the October to December 2022 season. However, the rains were sparse and meager to guarantee a positive impact. Prospects indicate that the country may enter the rain in the second week of March 2023. But going by past experience, it is not guaranteed, mainly because of possible climate change disruptions. Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the situation is no better in Somalia. The situation is no better in Ethiopia. The situation is no better in Djibouti. The situation is no better in Sudan. Neither it is in the South Sudan. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya and the Horn of Africa are in crisis, largely due to the impact of climate change despite our limited contributions to this phenomenon. One of the key drivers of climate change is the rising levels of greenhouse and other emissions, with carbon dioxide being one of the leading causes of global warming. As of 1992, global emissions stood at 27 gigatons annually. With increased industrialization and other human activities, global emissions have hit a 140 gigatons as per the latest records. On the other hand, the UN has reported that each new year is hotter than the previous. In spite of this rise, Kenya as an emerging economy contributes less than 0.1% of the global greenhouse emissions annually, but we are suffering more. We are also implementing diverse measures of cutting down our emissions by 32% by the year 2030. For instance, Ruto targeting 15 billion trees by the year 2032. This will increase the national tree cover from 12.13% to 30% in the next 10 years. Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. However, Kenya and the rest of the Horn of Africa is sinking deep into more crisis, even though our contributions to global warming is negligible as compared to the industrialized world. With the worsening situation in Kenya and many parts of Africa, there is no respite despite various international commitments and frameworks against climate change. For instance, increased global warming means we have fallen short of implementing the UN framework conventions on climate change of 1992. We have also neither adhered to the Kyoto Protocol of 1997, nor the Paris Agreement of 2015, just to mention but a few. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya is taking immediate and a few long-term measures in response to drought and famine. We cannot manage the situation alone. We need children in school, otherwise they will be left behind. We need safe pregnancies and deliveries. But malnutrition among expectant and lactating mothers and children threaten to erase gains already made in suppressing mortalities in these vulnerable groups. The ripple effect is that hungry people cannot escape poverty. They cannot be healthy. They cannot go to school. They cannot be peaceful. In short, there is a direct in which we seek to leave no one behind. Excellencies, leading of the Sustainable Development Goals calls upon us to embrace partnership in development. This is only possible if we partner in implementing of climate action commitments and other frameworks. For instance, we need to prioritize implementation of the Sharm el-Sheikh Egypt COP27 decisions, establishing and operationalizing a fund. We also need full commitment and implementation of the contribution of $100 billion towards climate change mitigation measures. In this regard, development countries need to honor the Paris Agreement for the emerging economies like Kenya to implement their side of the bargain. Lower the average temperatures rise deeper than 1.5 degrees Celsius target in our climate action. As highlighted earlier, Kenya targets to plant 5 billion trees by 2027 and an additional 10 billion trees between 2027 and 2032 from countries which cannot necessarily reduce their greenhouse emissions. This can help us in strategizing better on adoption and integration of climate-smart sustainable development and other resilience plans in line with the development agenda of the Kenya Kwanza administration over the next 5 years. On this note, I invite you and the Lions Clubs across the nation to join us in this call for planting trees. Each tree by a lion will be a great green bullet towards a sustainable tomorrow for all. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, while these are more long-term plans, we cannot escape from the current reality. While we appreciate the UN family and other national and international non-state actors for their support of the more than 47.8 billion Kenya shillings to 7.36 billion for short-term and mid-term programs, which will be gradually implemented until October 2023. In an effort to make food more affordable, we have also subsidized production by availing farm inputs at cheaper rates. But for sustainability, we call upon more partnership and commitment to long-term solutions. Some of our other long-term investments include drilling of more boreholes, intensifying water harvesting through mega dams across the country. This will restore human dignity and put Kenya back on the trajectory of realization of Agenda 2030 of the UN alongside our own Vision 2030. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate the 45th Lions Day, the world and humans are interconnected. If we have to save humanity from the threat of extinction, my burden must be your burden. We must stand united or we perish. Thank you. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for being with us here today. We are grateful for your leadership and insight as we continue to make a difference in our communities and through our collective partnership. International President Sheehan would now like to present you with a token of our appreciation for being with us here today.